Hey everybody, it's Craig from Doc Sports, back with Doc's Daily. Friday, April 25th edition, and 2025, by the way, just so you know, if we're doing this a couple years from now, you better look back on this day. 4/25/25. It's not like 420 where, you know, we could celebrate with some other devices, but what a day. The draft day yesterday, you guys called it. Tight end the Bears, they go out and get the second best tight end. How about that? Go get the second best tight end.
This is why
Robert.
The same teams are in the top 10 every year.
Yeah, he froze. That's good one to freeze.
Let's leave him right there.
He froze on the. This is what
he hasn't slept yet. He can't believe it.
What a draft, though. What a draft. Shedeur Sanders still on the board. So there's some teams out there, I'm guessing, that maybe didn't think he'd be there. But we got some talk. We had NBA talk today, Major League Baseball, and, of course, NHL Playoffs. Another good night of both playoffs and NBA and NHL. Some nice games out there, including the Thunder. What a comeback for the Thunder. Yeah. We'll talk about that come to NBA. Don't forget, let's take care of the housekeeping. DocSports.com/free 60. Get you a free $60 account. That'll get you our top plays. So we got several top plays. Congratulations to August Young, 8-unit winner with the Pistons. In the Pistons game, he had the Knicks. And 8-unit play with the player prop for Scott Spreitzer. He had points, rebounds, assists for Joker. They called a timeout, blown out, and they kept him in the game to get the last two to get the over. I thought he was screwed because he was a half
unreal. Well, not only that, but at the end of the Pistons-Knicks game, with the Pistons down 4, and I think there was 2.8 seconds left or 3 seconds left, they called a timeout to set something up. And all I'm thinking is nobody on the Knicks is going to play any defense because they don't want to risk a 4-point play. So the Pistons are going to get a clean 3-point look, make it, and, you know, one of the brutal backdoor beats. But
he had the money line, though. He had the money line in that game, so it wouldn't have mattered for August.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought he had the 1.5. Okay, well, for everybody else that had had action on the spread, either would have been the greatest win or the worst beat ever. So, late game clock management, man.
He was probably, thank God I have that, because he probably was thinking the same thing if he wouldn't have had that. So a couple big 7-unit plays I see on the board tonight. Boys, do we have anything? Nick, why don't you kick us off here? What do you have top plays tonight?
Yeah, no top plays tonight, but yesterday you guys were all on that Pistons train, and I kept quiet. I was on the other side there, so the streak is my last 11 plays. I am 10-1. I will have a top play for tomorrow's slate. I love it a lot better. We're up over $3,730 on this run. So we're going to stay hot in the NBA. I have one play, 4-unit play that goes off at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also back on the ice, we got a 2-pack, and the MLB side, a 2-pack as well, Craig. So we're locked and loaded, all sports tomorrow, top play in the NBA.
Griffin, how did we do yesterday, and anything big for today?
Yesterday was a solid day. I did drop an MLB. I went 1-2, although I had a 4-unit on the Athletics straight up plus 125. So that ended up cashing. So it wasn't a bad day by any means. I think I lost like $150. Today, 6 units in the MLB 2-play card. NHL, I've got 2 selections. 7 units loaded. And then NBA, I've got a 4-unit selection, just 1 play. No top plays today. I have been waiting for this weekend all week long after that 8-unit drop. Ready to get back in the cage. Got my UFC 7-unit best bet going off tomorrow, part of a 3-fight card. I'm up $10,570 profit since starting my services with Docs. So absolutely jacked to the 9 with that, as well as I have a top play in soccer tomorrow. I'm 12-3 in my last 15 days, currently on like a 4 or 5 game winning streak as well. So we're dialed in on UFC and soccer for tomorrow, Craig.
All right. Robert, I don't see your name on the board here for any of the BPAs. What do you have tonight, and how'd you do yesterday?
I won my 7-unit hockey play yesterday, which good stuff. I had the Blues, and that was a bloodbath. So I was very, very happy about that. Nothing in hockey tonight. Like, I don't love the series that are going on tonight. I feel much more tuned in with the series that are going tomorrow and a lot of the Western Conference series that are being played on Sunday. I think I like one of the games tomorrow for a big play in hockey. Tonight I have a 7-unit baseball play. I really have not been just like cutting it loose in baseball. I'm still kind of easing my way into this. into the season with baseball, but there was one number, like I wasn't planning on this. Normally I'm looking days in advance at the board, at the card, I'm projecting numbers, and that's how I come up with a lot of my big plays. This one was not on my radar. This was not a game that was on my radar at all. And I woke up this morning, looked at the number, I was like, that's wrong. And so I got a 7-unit baseball play, so hopefully I can get the weekend started with the winner.
I don't know how I didn't see that. It was under baseball. But we got a couple big plays tonight. I have a 7-unit play in the NHL, all smaller plays other than that, though. But I really like this one on a little 7-2 run the last 6 days with our top play. So let's hope we keep that going. But we do have some 7-unit plays in the NBA. Let me just see who it is. August Young coming back with a 7-unit play. Indian Cowboys 7-unit play. Vernon Croy 7 units, and Scott Spreitzer. So a big full crowd. And then Major League Baseball, Raphael. How about Raphael? He doesn't usually step out. That's a big 6-unit run line play. So make sure him and Robert are the only MLB top plays tonight. So make sure you check it out. Go over to DocSports.com. It's $30 per day per sport. Or if you want a longer-term pass, they're available. Just click on the sport. $99, I know, for the week. I don't know what the playoff passes are. Are they $299 still? $259, something like that. $299 for both NBA and NHL. And that's all the way through. So that'll get you through mid-June. So that's almost two months worth of.
That will be dropping soon. I will say that to those out there. I think next week we'll probably plan another price drop that'll run through the end of the season. That'll cover the month of May and the 3 weeks in June. So if you wait like a week, you'll probably be able to take advantage of a price drop, and it usually drops to something ridiculous, $149 or $199 or something like that, where you're basically getting a month free. But keep an eye out for that and take advantage, because as you mentioned, there's still a ton of action every single day with the playoffs.
Yeah, from now and through the end of May, you pretty much will have NBA or NHL every day. Then, as the series, of course, later in May and then in June, you won't have it every day because there's only going to be either a couple series left, or, of course, in June, just the finals for both the Stanley Cup and the NBA. So make sure you check that out. Go under whatever sport you want to purchase, and you get in on. All right, let's also talk about some NBA free picks. How about that? NBA last night. Detroit didn't look like a good game. Then they come roaring back and had to give a little scare to August Young. But like tonight, boys, I think there's some hidden value here. We're going to find out. We got the Celtics favored by 3.5, Bucks favored by 5.5, and Timberwolves favored by 3.5. And, is there a free play here you like? Maybe, Robert, let's start with you.
I'm going to take the Celtics in this one. One of my favorite ways to bet NBA playoff series, especially early, is I love the best team on the road in game 3, because I feel like sometimes the odds makers, the public, overestimate home court advantage in the playoffs. These teams are where they are because they can beat anybody anywhere. Boston's just better than Orlando. Even without Jason Tatum, that game was never really close. Like, they just kind of look like the big brother putting his arm on the head of the little brother right now. And Orlando is just like, they're trying to throw punches or whatever, but they're just not good enough. So this 3.5 line, when we were laying double digits at home, like, is Orlando's home court worth like 7 or 8 or 9 points on the line? I just don't think so. Orlando was able to cover that game too. So if you're, those zigzag theory fans out there for you, this would be a spot. But Boston's just a better team. So I think that they're going to cover easily in another kind of muddy game.
I will say this. Orlando did, remember, last year they played the Cavs in round 1, and they forced that to 7 games. They won all their home games, lost all the away games, and lost in a 7-game series. Can they do that again? I don't know. It felt like that Orlando team could score more last year. They were
no Suggs and no Wagner. Okay, yeah. Like, it's still not exactly the same team, but I can tell you this right now, for those of you that are watching, like, I can already tell you that next October, November, early December, I'm going to be hammering the Magic. Like, I love what they have built as a core, and going into next year, if they're healthy, they'll probably add a piece or two, either in the draft or in free agency. But this is a team that I think is young, hungry, and is upcoming, and is on its way to a major breakthrough in the Eastern Conference. I'm talking like probably a top 3 or 4 seed. I can see for them next year, just being that young team that just rips through the regular season, wins 52 or 53 or 54 games. And everyone's like, oh, whoa, we didn't see that coming. Like the seeds of it we saw last year with that playoff series that they had against Cleveland. Yep. And then this year they're putting up a fight, but they're just outmanned. Like if they had Suggs and Wagner, I feel like this would be a different series. It'd at least be competitive. Right now, I don't feel like it is.
You know, with the rumors in the NBA, with all the guys that are supposedly going to be traded in the offseason, and we're talking big name guys, you have to get back something. Orlando has a lot of pieces that, you know, you could maybe put two of them together and go get you a Kevin Durant. And listen, and you don't mind playing in Orlando if you're a superstar. You want to know why? No state taxes.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, nice place to live. So you're around.
You don't want Kevin Durant. You don't need that idiot infecting that locker room.
No,
to your point. But to your point, how about this? Go out and make a move to get Giannis, right? Take him in the exact opposite situation that he's in right now, where he's surrounded by aging, old, decrepit, slow core. Surround him with a bunch of just like young, hungry, like monsters. That I feel like that would really unlock him, and they would have the pieces and the draft capital. I feel like to make that move, they'd be able to offer two young starters and some draft picks to maybe make that happen. Or if he just opts out.
Trae Young, Giannis, all those guys. Like a lot of these guys are going to want out of bad, tough situations that don't look like they're improving, and a lot of these guys are at the point of their career where championships all that matter. The money's the same. It doesn't really matter if they're getting it from Orlando or they're getting it from Atlanta or Milwaukee or the money's the same in the NBA. But if you feel like you have 6 years left, 7 years left, you want to win a championship. So interesting there in Orlando. I just don't see. I just don't see how, even without Tatum tonight, which at this number, the way it's dropped, I for sure think he's out. Nick, you like any of these other games as a free play?
Yeah, the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks looks very intriguing here. The Bucks are -5.5 here. I do not like this number with the Milwaukee Bucks. What the Indiana Pacers have shown already in this series, they could definitely do it on the road. I understand this is a must-win for the Milwaukee Bucks in this situation here, especially at home. I think this comes down to a last possession bucket here, and I would take the points in my back pocket with the Indiana Pacers. They're the much better team. They're more depth. And the superstars are playing a lot better than these Milwaukee Bucks. I would take the points +5.5 with the Pacers tonight, Craig.
Yeah, it's a team that's not deep in Milwaukee, and they basically can't play Brook Lopez because every time he's on the court, they just put him in pick and rolls until he switches. And earlier in his career, he could move his feet good enough where his length was enough to challenge shots and could stay. He has not been able to do that this series. So if you take probably your second best defender on the team and you can't play him, because of the way they're playing that style, it makes it very tough. Now, Lillard did play better than I thought. I don't know about you, Nick, but I didn't expect Lillard to have even a decent game, and he played like he hadn't been out that long. So is there any edge there you think if Lillard, the second game back?
I don't think so, Craig. Not at all. I mean, they're not depth enough. Their depth is just going to hurt them late in the game, especially Lillard. Yeah, he looked good in his first game, but he still needs rep. His conditioning, it looked okay. But this whole team in the Indiana Pacers all season long, their pace of play is one of the best. They're going to get up and down. You're not going to have Lopez on the court for these Milwaukee Bucks because he's too slow. He can't get back and defend. I just think these Indiana Pacers team is a little too much tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think the Bucks win. Possibly the Bucks win, but I don't think they win more than 6 points here tonight.
Hey, remember, there's a reason why the Pacers are super motivated. Somehow, I don't know how they found out. I guess they poll all the players for many things. Most overrated player. Supposedly, they found out that Damian Lillard said it was Halliburton. And if you've seen them, they were going after each other last game and it came out in the post game that's why he was so upset that the Bucks Lillard said that he was the most over. Which, hey, I don't know how you say that. Halliburton he's had an amazing last 2 years. I don't know how you say he's overrated, but that's just for a little people. If you don't think they're going to be up for this game, they will be. Any other free play here you have for us, Griffin?
Yeah, it's on the same game Nick's got, but I'm looking at a total here, and I wish we could say the same thing about Lillard to Chuck in that freaking Panthers game. I just pissing me the hell off, that 8-unit dropper, whatever. All right, so this game is a psychological in my eyes. I look at this game, Milwaukee laying 5.5. Indiana's currently 2-0 in the series. They're 2-0 against the spread. We got a total sitting at 229.5. Milwaukee has to leave it all on the court. They play their best basketball at edges comes to home court advantage in this matchup because Milwaukee and Indiana are very close, and Milwaukee will definitely be packed house tonight. They sucked on the road all year long. They're back home tonight. The only way that this team can score or compete with this team is to score points. We have a total sitting at 229.5. Milwaukee has to be an offensive beast in tonight's matchup. We've seen what the Pacers have done all season long. Their speed, their tempo, Halliburton, Sakayam. I mean, these guys fly up and down the court, and they score points. They let loose a little bit on the defensive side. And this Milwaukee Bucks team, we know one thing about them. They are low on depth. It's the Damian Lillard-Giannis show. And these two guys need to come together and score a lot of points tonight against this Pacers team to sustain that momentum when it comes to depth. So give me the over 229.5 in this matchup as a psychological concept. You're laying 5.5 points at home. That means that market is incenting that they're going to score points. We already know what the Pacers do. They score points and they run a very fast tempo. So give me the over in this one, Craig, at 229.5.
Also, the Dirty 630 boys over parlayed with the Pacers. Which, hey, if you said the Pacers cover, I think you'd have to say it's probably more an up-tempo game.
I'm on the Pacers as well.
You could parlay those two together, or you could just punch yourself in the face like 5 times and get the same result.
The last game, I'll give a free play in the other one. Lakers and Timberwolves. Lakers didn't show up game 1, came back huge in game 2. The zigzag theory is for real in this series. I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth. Minnesota at home, first game in this series. I think they take care of business. At 3.5, I don't think it's a problem here. I do think LeBron hasn't really played good in either game, to be very honest. Like he's going to have to play better if they're going to win this series. They're going, Luka's going to be Luka. He's going to have his games. They're going to need LeBron to be which is hard to believe. LeBron is the Robin finally, after being the Batman for so many years, but he needs to be a better Robin, as they say. But I don't think it happens tonight. I think Minnesota and their defense is too much at home. Give me 3.5. I think it's a sucker on a lot of people saying the over tonight. I mean, this is a pretty low total, 208. I just don't see it. I think I would play the under if I was going to play the game, but I think the stronger play by far, Minnesota minus the points.
This is going to be I'm with you 100%, Craig. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of kicking myself right now. I feel like that I should have had a 7-unit play on Minnesota. I think it was a little gun shy because of losing a 7-unit earlier in the week, especially the way that I did on that total. It just made me hesitate a little bit. But the more I think about it, the more I think this game is going to be a blowout. I do not think this game is going to be close. I think Minnesota is just going to run them off the court because the Lakers just kind of run hot and cold. Either Luka is controlling the tempo, controlling the game, slowing things down or whatever, or he loses control and the tempo starts to go a lot faster. And that's what I think Minnesota's going to do. I won't be surprised if they win by 18 tonight. I think this game's going to be a bloodbath.
I mean, the others in this series is really where it's been. When the others around the stars hit their threes, those teams have won. First game, Lakers couldn't hit anything. Minnesota's extras hit everything. I mean, really, Ant did not play great in game 1, and they won easy. And then he played better in game 2, but the other guys didn't play as good. I think they are
another one of those teams, kind of like Indiana, where they are just a different team in their own gym too. Yeah. They will get a burst. And we saw their athleticism. We saw their physicality in game 1. I think that sets the tempo. I think we see a lot of Luka and LeBron crying tonight. And I think
I thought Mike Conley would need to be a big part in the playoffs for Minnesota. I don't think that anymore. I don't think he needs to be we've seen these other young, better defenders have been a better fit for Minnesota because then they can guard Luka in switches. They can guard LeBron in switches. But Austin Reeves and company, Hachimura, all those guys are going to have to hit threes to win, to even force it to game 7. Otherwise, I think Minnesota could win in 6 games. I really do think they're the better team in the series. All right, let's talk. Let's go to Major League Baseball, and then we'll finish up in the NHL. Baseball, small card yesterday. Everybody's back today. Let's start with you, Robert. Any free play here for Major League Baseball?
Cincinnati. Why is that number dropping? Yeah. It was at 140 this morning. It's at 115 now. You don't need to say a lot about this. No bet against the Rockies is a bad bet. Larry Walker's not walking through that door. Todd Helton's not walking through that door. If the Rockies are smart, they would ditch the humidor, okay, get everybody in that organization just all hopped up on HGH and go back to like mid-90s Rockies softball games. That was at least entertaining. We touched on it a little bit. One of the guys mentioned in the comments over here, which thank you all for joining us and for chiming in. But somebody mentioned about the White Sox. We said it yesterday. The Rockies are going to give the White Sox a run for being the worst team in baseball. Like, they're both going to make a run and losing 115 games. They're that bad. Like, don't overthink it. Just bet against the Rockies every single day. They played a doubleheader last night. I kind of like how Cincinnati's been playing. I think that they're a little bit undervalued. So this at 115 is a joke. Like, come June, you're not going to be able to play a Rockies game for less than minus 190, 180, something like that. So take advantage while you can.
4-20 is their record.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Dude, bad teams usually at this time of year have 7 or 8, 9 wins. So to have 4 and to have to play a doubleheader yesterday and travel, like, it makes zero sense.
Right, like, they're going to get a big boost from that Coors Field crowd tonight. Like what are we even talking about? Like, they're pathetic.
This is one of those, like, at some point this season, they're going to have to do like the, dollar beer, like minor league hockey teams do, to get people out to the games, because it's not going to be a whole lot of people wanting. Although if you've ever been downtown Denver, it is a really cool vibe to like go to a game there. And then, they have like bars and restaurants, just like everybody does now. And pretty cool place. I was there last summer, and my nephew used to work at the Whiskey Row right across the road, which is Dirk Bentley's big bar he has there. So it's a pretty cool place if you want to go do that, but don't go for the baseball. If you're a Rockies fan, don't go for the baseball. All right, free play here, Griffin. How about you?
Yeah, let's talk about this Boston Red Sox Cleveland Guardians game. You got Tanner Houck getting the start for Boston and Ben Lavelli getting I always say his name wrong. AL Central. I should have this guy's name numbered, but every single announcer says his name wrong. Lavelli or Lively, whatever the hell you want to call him. He's good. He's a consistent pitcher. This guy's been in the bigs for several years now. He's been consistent. He keeps that ERA within a 3 to 4 radius throughout his career. This season, he's 1-2 on the year. He's got a 3.86 ERA, 25 innings of work with 19 strikeouts and 8 walks. Tanner Houck is who I want to talk about. This guy, he's having a brutal start to the season, but his stuff is beyond nasty when he's locked in. This guy has one of the best sliders I have ever seen in baseball. I mean, this thing cuts from the inside corner all the way to the outside corner with it breaks 6 inches, 7 inches across the plate. Every single time he snipers this thing. He's 0-2 on the year with a 7.66 ERA. Right now, Boston, they're starting to finally ascend, especially offensively. I know they're coming off of 2 straight losses. That's a perfect setup in my eyes. This team's 6-4 in the last 10 games, currently on that psychological barrier on the road with a record of 6-7. I'd like to see them punch this game 7-7. I'd like to see Tanner Houck come out stout. This guy's due for, I mean, he's already got 24.2 innings of work. He's been on the rubber all season long. It's time for him to get it done. And we know one thing about the Guardians. They slack on the offensive side. Right now, they're ranked 20th in baseball, averaging just 4 runs a game. They are never a team that you want to take on the run line. When they win games by 1 run. Boston right now, they're due for an explosion. I believe they do it tonight against Lavelli, Lively, whatever the hell you want to call them, against this Cleveland Guardians team. So give me the Red Sox here plus value. That's my free play in this one, Craig.
I'm going to go with Ben Lively. I would stick with Lively. And the reason, just real quick, Ben Lively, I will always have a very special place in my heart for that guy. I got to be completely honest with you. 2020, when the world shut down and the only sports that were going on were Belarusian soccer, the Belarusian Premier League kept playing during COVID, like the early months, and the KBO, the Korean Baseball Organization. And I remember handicapping those games and getting up to watch those games at like 5 a.m. And they have a rule in the KBO where you can only have like 2 American players on each team. And Ben Lively was, I think it was like Samsung or something like that, was his team. So I remember handicapping him and watching him in Korean baseball at like 3 o'clock in the morning during the early time of COVID. So every time I see that guy's name come up on the board, it just puts me back in that place.
I thought you were going to say he was an 8-unit winner.
I didn't know he was a cave. I didn't know he played in
he's an 8-unit winner a couple of days ago. I'll have a soft place in my life. That's what I thought you were.
No, he was my 8-unit KBO Game of the Year winner on May 12th, 2020. The date's just stuck in my mind.
I still have the ticket. I printed it out.
right. Never cast it, just Ravens.
Who's the psychopath pitching in the KBO right now? It came from the Dodgers. Dude who threw the ball.
Oh, the choker. Yeah. Trevor Bauer.
Bauer, there it is. Bauer, dude. Couldn't figure that one out.
I still can't believe he's on suspension, right? In Major League Baseball. That's right.
No,
he out there, man.
He could be signed tomorrow.
They don't want him.
Yeah, he's just radioactive. So I remember going through this with a lot of my Met fan friends last year. Everybody was like, sign him, get him. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big a scumbag he is. I'm like, you want that guy in your locker room? Like, he is an all-time scumbag.
That is a New York mentality, though. Like, I don't really care. I just want to win.
Right, 100%.
I love it. I love it. Him and Shannon. Center field. Are you kidding me?
You see this? Him and Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp.
All right, Nick, get us out of this one. Who do you like?
Yeah, we got the Baltimore Orioles and Detroit Lenny's Tigers here. The Tigers are slight favorite, -120 here on the money line. The total sitting at 8.5. This price to me, though, surprised me here. The Tigers, they're 10-3 this season at home. This Baltimore Orioles team, they just lost the series against the Nationals. They barely won yesterday, 2-1. Now they head to Detroit here, no days off. In the month of April, this Baltimore Orioles team has been atrocious. You look at that pitching side, the ERA, 30th in MLB baseball. Their offense, one of the worst too. 27th in run production here in the month of April has been awful. They're a falling knife. We're not catching them. We got Detroit Tigers here. They got Casey Mize back on the mound. He looked dominant in his last start against the Kansas City Royals. He went 7 innings of work, 4 hits, 1 earned run. The Orioles will have Brandon Young on the mound here. He doesn't have the experience. He's a right-handed pitcher. The Detroit Tigers absolutely hit right-handers to the T. Give me the Detroit Tigers here. Don't overthink it. Moneyline over the Baltimore Orioles, who are struggling in the month of April, Craig.
Yeah, Mize has had a nice little season so far. It's good to see a guy that was a high draft pick, kind of, little struggles to kind of turn it around because, there's a lot of pressure. You get drafted high in Major League Baseball, in any sport. Like, you're supposed to be good right away. It doesn't always happen that way, and sometimes they end up out of baseball. So for a guy to work his way back, I do like Mize and them tonight as well. In that one, I had a free play in my 3-packs. All right, I got a little free play. Early action here. Hey, take the Cubs if you got about an hour to bet this game. Cubs have been pretty good at home, 8-5 at home. Philly struggled on the road, 4-8. Walker, I know he's 2.37 ERA for Phillies. I don't believe that. Take the Cubs. Let's take the Cubs at home today. You boys should be going over there. At your age, you should
be there right now, Craig. If we would be there, we texted each other. Like,
really?
Nick looks like after this he's going like he's got a militia meeting at his house. Like he is going to the militia meeting.
What the hell? No, I'm going to the Cubs game. You kidding me?
Cubbies.
He's like, we're meeting outside. He's like the guy at the goat head that was that stormed the Capitol. That's what Nick looks like. He's his next meeting is going to be with that guy.
The hell is that? Let's go.
All right, NHL. Not the biggest. For me at least, when I looked at tonight, I was like, I don't know. I do have the 7-unit play, but after that, and it's in the late Kings and Oilers game. These other two, I didn't have a whole lot of opinions on. Nick, let's start with you since you're our NHL guru. What do you like? Here's a free play in NHL.
Yeah, the slate was kind of weird today. Obviously, a lot of series are at a pivotal point, but let's look at this Edmonton Oilers and Los Angeles Kings here. I think we see a lot better goaltending out of these Edmonton Oilers. You've seen in the first 2 games. They're playing at home, too. They're back at home. This is a must-win game, obviously, for the Oilers. I think their defense steps up here. We've seen the Los Angeles Kings and how dominant they've been at home. I think they'll be dominant here on the road. I lean more towards the Oilers in this matchup, but I think it's a low-scoring game here. I think the defense and the goaltending, especially for these Edmonton Oilers, step up here tonight. It's a low-scoring game. Take the under 6.5 goals. I see this one finishing 3-2, 4-2 final here. I would take the under in the Edmonton Oilers, Los Angeles Kings, Craig.
I mean, don't you think the series is going to lie on tonight? The Kings have been great on the power play. The Oilers have been not. And that has to change. One, they got to stay. They can't be giving away penalties. I thought they gave away 2 or 3 just bonehead penalties last time out. They got to stay out of the penalty, and they got to do better on the penalty kill. Don't you think that's the case tonight?
100%. You don't want to come out flat, and you don't want to have penalties in that first period. You've seen it in the first 2 games, and Los Angeles capitalized on it. You stay out of the box, you play hard-nosed defense, and you let your goaltender do the work behind his home fans here tonight. I think it's a low-scoring game, like I said.
Nick, I really like the description you used about the Orioles, about how they're a falling knife right now. That I really like that expression. I do. I feel the same way about the Oilers right now, though. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's waiting for them to come storming back and win this series. They're not going to win this series. Like, I liked the series price on the Kings going into this series. Edmonton was not going to beat them 4 years in a row. And you could feel it with this Kings team that they were not going to lose to them 4 years in a row. And if you just look back at the Oilers over the last 2 months, they're not the same team. They've been hurt. They've been just out of sorts. They're not playing their best hockey at the right time of the year. And just like we talked about kind of yesterday in the NBA, perfect example. You see a young team make a run deep into the playoffs, like we were talking about with the Knicks, come back the next year, and everyone expects, oh, well, Edmonton went to the finals last year. They're going to go to the finals this year. No, they are going to get bounced in the first round. So I hope you're right. I hope that they win this game to make it 2-1, because all that's going to do is push the public back in their corner. And then I'm going to hammer the Kings in game 4. I think they get one of these 2 games in Edmonton, and then I think they close it out like this. Edmonton is not winning this series. There's nothing about the way they've played over the last 2 months that makes me think that they are equipped for like a deep playoff run, and the Kings are just super motivated to beat the team that's knocked them out of the playoffs the last 3 years.
Agreed.
Isn't the Kings also the best home team in the NHL? So it's like,
oh yeah,
they're going to have to beat them once at home, like against the best home team in the league. So, and like the first 2 games were not close, so it kind of makes sense that maybe they do get this one tonight, Edmonton, and then like that next game, like you said, once you win one, it's like, okay, things are back right. And then you have even better value. What's up, Nick? Keep your August, yeah.
August Young dropping in, folks.
Great whip with the Nick.
What's up? Congratulations, August.
Yeah.
Well done.
2 8-unit winners last night. That's what we like to see when we have usually there's only one a day, but we actually had 2 yesterday, a player prop with Scott, and then August had the Knicks as well. So good wins by our boys last night. Now, do we have any free plays here left, Griffin?
Yeah, I mean, we'll make this brief and short and quick. And we've got the Washington Capitals against the Montreal Canadiens. Tons of sharp money is pouring in on the Canadiens right now. Current line, Capitals minus 120 on the road. They lead the series 2-0. The last matchup they won, it was a 3-1 final. So if you're expecting that the Canadiens are going to keep this game tight, we have a total sitting at 5.5. I like the under in this game. I think the Canadiens are going to keep this game tight. I have a premium side on this matchup, and I'm kind of basically giving it away, basically, quote unquote. But at the same time, I think this game is going to be a tight matchup. I think that the Canadiens can sustain this offense with Washington. I think they're going to come in. A lot of sharp money on Montreal. That's already given us an incentive. We already have a low total, which gives us another incentive. Give me the under 5.5 goals in this matchup, Craig.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of that Toronto game last night where, you give out your all. You're down 0-2. You have to. And I think this is going to be all about the defense. It's going to be super physical. I do think Montreal wins this game, but I do think that under is a nice little play here for NHL. Robert, you have anything as a free play here?
I don't, but I'm going to make a real quick transition to soccer because I love this bet. It's for Saturday. I can tell you right now, I'm going to release this as a 5-unit play on probably the draw and a 4-unit play on the side. So you are getting a premium pick here 1 day early. Love the value here. It is in English League One. League One. This is Wrexham's league. That's why a lot of people are following it and betting it. I will say, when I was over in Europe, I got to see Wrexham play live at Wigan. Great experience. But tomorrow they are 2 points up for a 3rd straight promotion with 3 games to play. They are at home tomorrow at the Stoke Rock. I like the 5 units on the draw at plus 220, and I like 4 units on Charlton, their opponent tomorrow, at plus 240. These odds are ridiculous. Charlton is 7-1-1 in their last 9 games. They are on fire. The reason Wrexham is up 2 points in the number 2 spot right now for automatic promotion is the number 3 team, the team that they were chasing. Charlton just beat them 4-0. Wickham, who's been playing great. Charlton just hammered them. Like, this team just has a ton of momentum. They're not scared of Wrexham. Now that Wrexham is in the driver's seat and kind of controls its own destiny with 3 matches left, you got to wonder about the pressure starting to cook up on them. And the fact that you are getting over 2-1 on the draw and over 2-1, almost 2.5-1 on the hotter side right now. These odds are ridiculous. And it's because the sports books know, right? They know that anybody that's digging around for English League One action is probably a Wrexham better and probably a square. So like, this is just a phenomenal spot. Like, my heart will be with Wrexham. I want them to win, but I know a good situation when I see it. And like I said, you hit that draw, that's plus 1,100 right there on that 5-unit play. And people will say, well, if you like Charlton so much, why play the draw and Charlton? Because there's only 3 ways this game can end. Wrexham wins, draw, or Charlton wins. We now have a healthy profit on 2 of those 3 possible outcomes. And like I said, like, as soon as I saw those numbers, I was expecting Charlton to be like maybe plus 130 and the draw to be like maybe plus 150 or somewhere around there. And even then, I still like Charlton. As soon as I saw these odds, I was like, this is ridiculous. The match is at 12:30. Take the draw, take Charlton.
That's Eastern time, 12:30?
12:30 Eastern time. Yep.
All right, so jump in. You can watch that midday
Might
tomorrow.
have to bet soccer tomorrow.
Can watch it on Paramount. Can watch it on Paramount Plus. I just like, this team is Charlton is in 4th place. They are only like 3 points back of Wrexham now because of this like ridiculous run that they've been on since March. So they're in the mix. Like, this is going to be a competitive game. Wrexham doesn't score a lot and they don't give up a lot of goals. So it's going to be a close game. 1 goal will probably do it in that match. And if it's that close, again, you're giving me 2-1 and 2.5-1. Like, yeah, this is an easy bet. This is an easy bet.
All right, boys. There you go. That's what we call a bonus soccer edition there at the end. So gave you out a ton of free plays today. Don't forget, if you can look back at any of those after, of course, DocSports.com/free60 to get in our top plays tonight. I think there's like 2 7-unit plays in every sport at least today, and a couple more in I think NBA. So make sure you check that out. Go over to DocSports.com/free60 for new customers. If you're an existing customer, you've already got your free 60, so you know how it works. Just get in on it. $30 per day per sport, and use that promo code PLAYOFF10. Saves you 10% off today. Yeah, today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can use that all weekend long. It's good for multiple uses. So make sure you check that out. All right, there's your Doc's Daily Show for Friday. We'll see you back again on Monday. Have a great day. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments. We'll get to it after the fact. Good luck.